Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I'm going over my initial ratings for the 2022 Senate map. I've done a few videos now talking about potential candidates for certain races and kind of what's the best case scenario for both sides. However, I thought now would be a good time as we're officially in 2021 to officially start going over what I think my initial ratings are for the 2020 Senate map. Before I get into that, I just want to say if you like this video, please like this video and subscribe to my channel so you get notified whenever I post a new video. So, the 2022 Senate map, because the Democrats won the Georgia runoffs, the Democrats start with 36 Senate seats, Republicans have 30. It is currently a 50-50 tie in the Senate as well. That's also something to keep a note of. So, Democrats are fully expected to win Washington, Oregon, California, and Hawaii all safe. That gets the Democrats up to 40 seats right there alone. Republicans are expected to win Idaho, Utah, and I would say Alaska is well safe. There could be a primary challenge by Sarah Palin or another potential Republican against Lisa Murkowski. That could make it competitive, but the general election I don't really see being too competitive. Now, North Dakota and South Dakota will be safe, I think. Kansas, despite a decent showing from the Democrats in 2020, I still think Kansas at this time would be considered a safe state, as will Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana as well. Missouri did get close in 2016, but I think that was mainly because that Jason Kander, who was a very popular Democrat, ran at the time. I haven't heard anything indicating Jason Kander will run. If he does, look for this race to potentially get closer, but up until now, I don't see Missouri getting all that close. The state of Illinois now for the Democrats, 40-40. Illinois will go to the Democrats in a safe margin. I could see that happening. Alabama will be safe for the Republicans. Georgia, I'm not going to talk about yet. I want to come back to that because I think that can be potentially close. South Carolina, Tim Scott, I think he's more popular than Lindsey Graham. I don't think he'll have much trouble in that one. Maryland, I don't think Larry Hogan runs for the Senate seat. Even if he does, I think the Democrats are going to start off as pretty big favorites. So I'm going to put Maryland in the safe Democratic column for now. If Larry Hogan does decide to run, then I'll have to reconsider the positioning on that. The state of Connecticut as well. Connecticut goes off in the safe Democratic column. There's not really any high-profile Republicans that could potentially run and win in Connecticut. Vermont, same thing. Republican Governor Phil Scott, I expect he runs for re-election. If he does run for Senate, then maybe I have to look at it again. But so far, I see it as a safe Democratic state. As for the state of New York as well, whether it's Chuck Schumer or if there's a primary challenge, the general election is going to be safe for the Democrats. Republicans are going to win the state of Indiana and Kentucky safe unless some sort of drastic thing happens that I don't see at this time. So Democrats have 45, Republicans have 44. I've intentionally left a few states blank that I want to talk about a little more than some of the other safe states. First things first, the state of Colorado. Colorado, I don't think it'll be a safe margin win for, I believe it's Michael Bennet, but I do think that the running for president might have hurt him a little bit in Colorado, but it is a state that is shifting Democrat, so it will go to the Democrats. I just think it'll go Democrat in a likely column. It's not really much of a big difference. The Democrats are still going to win here, but I just think that a likely margin is more realistic than a safe margin, at least in a what is supposed to be a Republican wave year environment. So that gets the Democrats up to 46. Now, the next likely state for me is the state of Florida with Marco Rubio. I think Marco Rubio is in a very good position where he's very popular in the state of Florida. He won pretty big last time. I think he probably outperforms President Trump in Florida and can win this state in a likely margin. The only real trouble for Marco Rubio, I think, will be if there's a strong primary challenge. And I heard Ivanka Trump is a potential rumor. I don't think she actually runs. I certainly don't think Marco Rubio thinks that she's going to run. But that could be something to keep an eye on if that does indeed happen. So Democrats are at 46, Republicans are at 45. The state of Iowa is a very interesting state because I'm assuming right now that Terry Branstad, who is the current senator, I believe, I think he's going to run, but if he retires, because he is very, very old, this could be a very, very tough thing to say. If he doesn't run, I think Iowa is a lean. If he does run, I think it's a safe victory. So for now, I'm putting it in the likely column kind of as like a middle ground, because I think what he does depends, honestly, on how this race goes. Nevertheless, that gets Republicans to 46. Democrats are also at 46. Now we go east to the state of Ohio. Ohio incumbent Senator Rob Portman just announced he will not be running for re-election, and also Representative Jim Jordan announced he will not be running for the seat. Jim Jordan is someone I thought would be, honestly, the Republicans' best candidate for this race. President Trump showed that he won Ohio twice. Ohio, it might be a Republican state, but it looks more to me, it looks like more of a Trump state. I think Jim Jordan would be the best candidate the Republicans could field there. So I'm still going to start Ohio off in the likely Republican category. However, if Representative Tim Ryan decides to run and the Republicans can't really field a strong candidate, this is a race that you could certainly keep an eye on to potentially get close, maybe even flip at the end of the day. But nevertheless, that gets the Republicans to 47. Democrats are still at 46. Now we go west to the states of Nevada and Arizona. Nevada first. Nevada is a state that if the Republicans set their cards right, they can very well be in a position to potentially flip. Nevada was pretty close in 2020, only going to Joe Biden by about 3% or so. And in a midterm year that's supposed to benefit Republicans, Nevada is in legitimate striking distance. The question is, can they find the right candidate? And I think if it was Brian Sandoval, the former governor, I think this race is put in the lean Republican column outright. However, I don't know if Brian Sandoval is going to run. I haven't heard anything about him running. So my best inclination would be it'll be a Republican like Dean Heller or Adam Laxalt. If it's one of those two, I think this race starts off somewhere in a lean Democrat rating. However, I did hear also, I'm blanking on his name, but the representative, I think from Nevada's 1st district, I believe, he might be interested in running, and he's won several times now in the state. So I think if he runs, that could be a more competitive race. However, it's all about shaking out which candidates decide to run. So for now, I'm going to put Nevada in the lean category, but that's something that we can definitely look to see change over the coming times. So now 47-47, we'll go in the state of Arizona while we're out west. Arizona, Democrat Mark Kelly was able to win, and I thought for sure this race is going to flip in 2020 because I thought Doug Ducey was going to run, and he was going to beat Mark Kelly by a very small margin, but I thought Doug Ducey would win nonetheless. Doug Ducey announces he will not be running. The Arizona State GOP is kind of in like a civil war mentality right now of we're getting rid of everyone who's not 100% pro-Trump, and that's not going to bode well for the state of Arizona in the midterms, I think. I think Mark Kelly is able to hold on in the lean column as well. So Democrats are at 48, Republicans are at 47. Now we go to the state of Georgia. Georgia is an interesting one because Raphael Warnock was able to win. He was able to get very, very good turnout for a Democrat, as did John Ossoff. At this time, Georgia, it's not a super Democratic state. It's still a swing state, a state Republicans can win. The Republicans need to run a candidate that can appeal to both GOP voters and Trump voters. And at this moment, I really don't know if they will. Maybe that some Republicans who stayed home turn out and vote, but at this time, I don't know if that happens. I could absolutely see Georgia flipping back, but for the sake of this argument, I honestly think Georgia has to start off in the tilt column for now. Arizona and Georgia had 2 Republican senators leading into 2018. They both have 2 Democrats. That didn't happen by accident. The Democrats got very good campaigns, very good candidates in both of those states. I know that because they were able to win. So, Republicans have 47, Democrats have 49. I think in the state of North Carolina, I do think Republicans hold on North Carolina in a lean margin or so. Maybe a tilt margin, but I think whoever the Republican candidate is, whether it's Mark Walker, maybe it's Laura Trump, who I think would actually be a really good candidate for the Republicans to run, as she's someone who has the Trump name but isn't as divisive or polarizing as President Trump or Donald Trump Jr. is. I think she could win that race. I do think North Carolina goes red. That's 49-48 for the Democrats in the lead. Now, the state of Wisconsin. If Senator Ron Johnson decides to run again, I think this race starts off in the lean to tilt column for the Republicans. If he decides to retire, this race is a pure toss-up and could very well go the same way as Pennsylvania, where one goes red, one goes blue, or maybe both go red, both go blue. I don't know. I'm assuming Ron Johnson runs, so at this time, I'll put it in the tilt column. Now we go to Pennsylvania and New Hampshire. New Hampshire, this is a very bold take that might seem crazy, but I'm willing to defend it. I think Chris Sununu runs for this Senate seat against Maggie Hassan, and I think Chris Sununu unseats Maggie Hassan as Maggie Hassan unseated Kelly Ayotte in 2016. I think this will be another classic case of a popular incumbent governor going up against a semi-popular senator, and the governor is able to win. I really see Chris Sununu, who had the biggest margin of victory in 2020, more than Jeanne Shaheen, more than more than Joe Biden, and more than both congressional candidates in the state, I see Chris Sununu winning that Senate race over Maggie Hassan. And now Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, it all comes down to the Democrats have a lot of strong candidates, and I don't see many right now for the Republicans who are as strong. So Pennsylvania, I'm going to put narrowly in the tilt column right now because I don't want to do any pure toss-up states. However, on this map, any state that's in the tilt column, I mean, any lean state I could see flipping as well, but especially Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, I could definitely see flip. In Nevada and Arizona, I could easily see flipping as well. I just think at this moment, the Republicans are in a very weird spot where they have to figure themselves out going into 2022. Are they going to try to bring back voters who don't like Trump but want to be Republicans, or are they just going to go full on Trump ride or die? That could very well determine how they do in 2022. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.